What is it about this stretch along the Atlantic? What do we find here on this beach? Beside these waters, in this light? What do we draw from the tides, and what do the tides expect of us? In Daytona, it all starts with the sand. Flat as a pool table, wide as a football field. This is where men tested the limits of a brand new invention called the automobile. Where Americans flocked to escape the winter or hold off adulthood just a bit longer. Where the world's finest drivers challenge one of the planet's most intimidating tracks. And where a community has grown up around that track and created a world unlike any other. My name's Jay Busbee. I've spent 20 years telling stories in the world of NASCAR, and here's what I know for sure. Daytona is so much more than the track. You hear the engines on race day, but you feel their power all year long.
1, 2, 3, yeah!
Ken Willis is living every race fan's dream. He's a beachside sports writer who spent a fair part of his life at racetracks, golf courses, and fishing piers. For every good story you can tell, he's got 3. What time of day is the best time to fish around here?
Sunrise, sundown. Night's good if you can stand the skeeters. We're not using live bait, so we got to cast and retrieve. Cast and retrieve.
What brought you to Daytona in this area in the first place?
My mom and dad.
Yeah.
I'm a rare native. I was born in Halifax Hospital, over there by the speedway. Yeah. Not a lot of us natives around, but there's a few.
Say, yeah, that's a rare.
Yeah, we have a secret language. I grew up on this beach, so I thought all beaches were like this. And then as I got older and started traveling, I would find myself at another beach, say up the East Coast or in California, and I realized, no, this is unique. When the tide's out and you got this long, wide patch of hard-packed sand.
I'm going to put you on the spot here to be a geologist. What causes the sand to be so hard-packed?
You want me to make something up?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. No one's watching.
I don't know. How about that?
The sands of what's now Daytona Beach were once buried under 80 feet of water. As continents shifted and tides receded, what came to light was a place unlike anywhere else on Earth. At the turn of the 20th century, America's wealthiest barons turned their eyes south to Daytona and its sister beaches, Ormond and New Smyrna. They gathered here to avoid bitter northeast winters, and they brought some new toys.
In the early 1900s, when they started building cars, and they brought some down here, and they said, "Wait, this is nice. We can fly. There's nothing in the way." So that's what made it the birthplace of speed. Back in the early 1900s, those guys, Ransom Olds and Alexander Winton and Vanderbilts and all those dudes came down, and they would generally hire a for-hire dude with a scarf and a fancy hat and haul ass. Just point it and go.
Having an automobile was a sign of high status. Having one that was faster than your fellow millionaires, well, that right there is the American dream.
The reason that the people, the millionaires who had all the money in the world, decided to come down to Ormond Beach was not only could they bring their new car, they're saying they had no other place to run them. There was no roads, no place to take them, so they naturally had a lot of fun down here. They had 23 miles of beach to go up and down. And men in general are very competitive, and they couldn't wait to get down here and get their automobiles on the beach.
Suzanne Heddy grew up driving on these sands, and now she spreads the gospel of speed from her beachside church.
The racing on the beach stopped after 1935 when Sir Malcolm Campbell went over 300 miles an hour beach because he didn't want to wait for the tide anymore. He got tired of waiting for the tide. So he discovered the Bonneville Salt Flats and he went to Bonneville. And there was another racer called Sig Hogdahl who said, I have a great idea. Let's cut a hole in the sand dunes so we can go on the beach and come up on A1A.
As racing flourished throughout the country, drivers realized there was strength in unity. Bill France realized there was strength in being a unifier. In 1948, he gathered drivers, mechanics, and promoters here at the Streamline Hotel and hammered out the sport's Magna Carta.
Big Bill knew that it wouldn't be long before he'd no longer be able to race 2 miles on the beach, turn, go up onto the blacktop of South Peninsula, and on that 2-lane asphalt, haul ass for 2 miles, boom, hard left turn back onto the beach. But you weren't gonna be able to do that for long because you were starting to see more houses on the dunes. So that's when he started thinking, I gotta get a racetrack built. And long story short, he got enough financing and he found the place. And that's where the Speedway sits today. It immediately made Daytona Beach something other than just a beach town, a vacation destination. It was an auto racing place.
A drive into Daytona International Speedway can take your breath away when the track's empty. When it's full, Daytona is a true religious experience. Europe has cathedrals, America has stadiums. You can debate which is more magnificent, but you can't drive 200 miles an hour through Westminster Abbey.
I've always said and I've written many times that you could go to as far a corner of the earth as you can find. You know, and if there are automobiles on that patch of ground and people driving automobiles, if you say Daytona to them, they know what it is.
How many beaches have you been to in the U.S. that you can drive on, honestly? One, exactly. The allure of being able to do that, it's like going to Vegas and being able to gamble openly and drink in the streets. So people come here for it, explicitly for that.
If you're looking to learn more about Old Daytona, look no further than Steve Gooch. He's a local tour guide who tells the wild stories of Daytona Beach.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
From speed demons to spring breakers. 80 years after one group of young Hellcats broke speed records, another band of Hellraisers broke every city law on the books. Thanks to MTV, Daytona Beach became synonymous with spring break.
When college students come to an area, they're going to go for the hotels with the cheaper rooms, and they're going to treat it like a rental. So those hotels tended to get a little bit more rundown. The city of Daytona finally decided that the trade-off wasn't worth it anymore, and they didn't want to do MTV Spring Break. Sadly, a lot of those properties that were run down have remained.
What do you think the image is outside of this area of Daytona?
Now, I've heard a lot of opinions on it. I don't necessarily agree with them. It's vibrant, we have a lot of culture, we have a lot of history, and I think people want to explore that. If you say anything bad about it, you don't know it well enough.
Just a bit south of Daytona Beach is Ponce Inlet and the Old North Turn. The days where cars would whip through at terrifying speeds are long gone. It's quiet here, and the locals enjoy that peace. Look close at just the right time, and you might catch sight of a new generation of speedsters cruising over the sands. There's a lesson here for us. Sometimes you should take a few steps outside the familiar and see what else the world has in store. Well, sea turtles and racing doesn't seem like a good.
No, they're cute. They are cute, but I don't know how many. I don't know if there's now 2 out of 50,000 make it instead of 1. I don't know, but they're still out there.
You've been here long enough to see Daytona go through a number of changes. What are some of the most significant changes about this area?
I would say just the number of people that are here. New Smyrna Beach was literally just a sleepy little beach town that a lot of people want to live here. A lot of people want to visit here. Day trippers from Central Florida come over, weekenders. It has launched itself into this place where everybody wants to be.
In New Smyrna, the place to be for beers and burgers is the Breakers. Come on in, sit down at the bar, and feel the rich weight of history fixed in the lacquer. When hurricanes roll in, everyone stops by for a drink or two before hunkering down. One last bit of community before the storm arrives. A few steps away from the beach stands the Beacon. Opened by Greek immigrants 40 years ago, it's the best place in town to grab bacon and eggs and step out of time for just a bit. Some folks in Daytona Beach look to the water, others to the sky. DeLand, a few miles inland, is one of the globe's top skydiving destinations. People come here from all over the world to leap out of perfectly good airplanes. And there's plenty of deck space to grab a bite and watch them float back down to earth.
I can see the appeal of that, but I don't want to do it.
I guess I can see the appeal of watching them.
Yep.
Jim Chapin lives in DeLand. He's a novelist and a naturalist who grew up in Daytona Beach. His father, Bill, an architect, has worked to shape the city's perception and its future.
It's a place where, if people who are maybe either getting away from something or wanting a few less restraints on whatever it is that they care to do, like any frontier area, that's what Florida was, and maybe it still kind of is.
What I read in your book, I never really understood. I always read about the Wild West when you're a kid. Well, Florida's the Wild East.
Florida was the southern frontier because this country had a southern frontier.
Right.
And this was literally a cattle driving state, and it still is, in fact.
And
Daytona's the Wild West right now.
Yeah, right. We now, though, I think have reached to the point where we're ready for a real growth. It could take off. And interestingly enough, although years have gone by, we're maybe right now at about the point where we could start to have that happen. And that's where Daytona, I think, is just about ready to kick out into high gear.
The way that this place has held on to what it is not that easy to do. And I think a lot of places, in some ways, it may have been accidental. It may not have been intentionally like, we are going to keep to what we are here in Daytona. One way or the other, it's happened, and you aren't going to find another place that resembles this one.
Head north and the past lingers in other ways, like at this famous seafood joint. This is High Tides at Snack Shack. Order the fried shrimp and the spicy gumbo and wash it all down with an ice-cold beer. And who knows, you might spot one of the Petty family when you're here. They're regulars when they're in town. High Tides is valet parking only, but flip-flops are always welcome. It's a fine place to watch the sun go down on a perfect Daytona day. Think for a second what a miracle this is. Rising up out of the Florida swamp, strong enough to withstand a hurricane. Connecting the beach to the town, and from there to the world beyond. You tap into Daytona's speed here, too. Over a bridge, you can traverse in seconds what would take the Rockefellers days. Locals cast lines off piers and docks in the Halifax River. Spend a little time fishing in Daytona, and you'll cast your cares away.
No corn dogs, but I did bring you some more boiled peanuts.
Hey,
if you want to
sweet.
have a few of these.
Yeah, let's bust those out.
Did you pretend to like them, or did you really like
I
them?
really did like them.
Okay.
You were right, because these are not mushy and...
I don't overcook them. I like to have a little texture. I like to have a little crack to my peanut.
Yeah. What'd you put in this one?
Oh, salt and apple cider vinegar, and 1 poblano pepper.
I like it. Would this be referred to as the river or the intercoastal? Or
Intracoastal.
Intracoastal, yeah. Is it?
The intracoastal in this area, Daytona Beach, greater Daytona Beach, Ormond area, is called the Halifax River. Mm-hmm. After you get down to New Smyrna, it becomes the Indian River. And the Indian River Lagoon stretches all the way down to South Florida.
At the end of the Dunlawton Avenue Causeway, you'll find a perfect case of right place, right time. This is the Dairy Bar. Nobody knows how long it's been an ice cream parlor. What they do know is, when they built this bridge, the Dairy Bar was there, serving up the finest chili dogs for miles.
Okay. It used to be an old little drawbridge. Like this road used to lead to a nice little wooden drawbridge, as far as I knew, back in the day. And then this bridge was built in '91. Yeah, the building survived it. They just built a big bridge around it. The building was built in 1956, and it's been here since then, lasted through all the hurricanes. There you go, buddy. Thank you. They started off just having like a little hot dog stand on the beach kind of thing, like a little trailer wagon. We keep it simple. We do hot dogs and we do soft serve. No beans, all beef hot dogs, all beef chili. We're known for our chili dogs. We got a secret recipe that they've had going for 30 years that people love. We don't sell it on the side, we only sell it on the hot dogs. You want the chili, you gotta get a chili dog, and they're definitely worth getting.
If you only pop in for the races or spring break, you might miss the changes happening all over Daytona. This is a town in constant flux.
And the actual core city of Daytona Beach, on the beach side specifically, is still trying to modernize, still trying to shed its t-shirt shop reputation. In recent years has seen some noticeable improvements in that area. And it remains, if you find yourself over there on a weekend, warm weather weekend, a ton of people still flock to Daytona Beach, frolic. You know. Another shot of a snook or trout. You got something chasing that thing?
Bite, yeah.
So good.
Come on.
Oh, look at you.
Look at that.
Well, let's look at here. My goodness, you either might have a redfish. You got a redfish, son of a gun. Don't let them be too big.
Look at that, right out of the
Look at that. Beautiful Florida redfish. Little short. The window is, the slot is 18 to 27 inches.
Okay, so we're gonna throw him back.
Yeah.
All right, see you, big fella.
There he goes.
Through all the time that Daytona has existed, through all the races and all the parties, the tides roll in and the tides roll back out. As the town along the beach has changed, the sand has too. These days, softer red sand drifts down from the north. It slows down the heavy old beasts, but it won't ever stop them. Like the sun and the sand, as long as there's a Daytona, there will be speed. Tire tracks wash away, but the legends always remain.